Ta-da-da! How are you all? Welcome to this session. I have incorporated books, authors, movements, concepts that will help all of you. It is not only about SLET, it is about PGTRB and GATE exam. I have tried to include questions of all kinds. Okay, will you pay attention and answer me now? Ta-da-dang! How are you all? I am so happy that we have good questions now. It is a mini test, not a big test. Shall we start? Who of the following took a great interest in the promotion of spelling reform and wrote a scheme for a new alphabet and a reformed mode of spelling? Did you know that? In the 18th century, somebody took a great interest in spelling reform and wrote a scheme for a new alphabet and a reformed mode of spelling. It is a person who was interested in a lot of different things. He was interested in electricity. He was interested in various sciences, science experiments. He was also involved in politics. Yes, everybody. Is it William Jones, Benjamin Franklin, Dr. Johnson, or Jonathan Swift? That is right. It is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was a very important politician engaged in the independence movement of America. Some of you said it right. He was also a scientist. He was a writer. He was very greatly interested and involved in spelling reform. Will you remember? Don't forget. They will ask you. I have found all this in A.C. Boss' book. Sorry, this book. A.C. Boss' History of English Language is a very major book that is necessary for all your exams. So in that book, I got this question. Okay? Next question, ready? Ta-da-dang. Uh-oh, which of the following is the correct chronological arrangement of these works of Shakespeare criticism? Correct chronological arrangement. Listen, everybody. Shakespeare, his mind and art. Shakespeare's imagery and what it tells us. The Wheel of Fire. Shakespeare restored Shakespearean tragedy. I will tell you more about these books, then you will understand. Shakespeare, His Mind and Art is a book by Edward Dowden. Shakespeare, His Mind and Art is a book by Edward Dowden. He was a Victorian writer. And it is in this book, Shakespeare, His Mind and Art, that Dowden talked about the 4 stages of Shakespeare's career. In the workshop, in the world, out of the depths, in the heights. In the book Shakespeare, His Mind and Art, the Victorian writer Edward Dowden talked about the 4 stages of Shakespeare's writing. So this is Victorian, okay? First one. Shakespeare's imagery and what it tells us. You should know it is 1935 book by Caroline Spurgeon. She was the first academic in England, the first female academic in England. 1935. The Wheel of Fire is by Wilson Knight. It was 1930. Shakespeare Restored is an 18th century book. Shakespeare Restored was written against Alexander Pope. And Shakespeare Restored is therefore the first among all this. Because it was by, who wrote Shakespeare Restored? Louis Theobald. Louis Theobald in the 18th century wrote Shakespeare Restored against Alexander Pope. And then Shakespearean tragedy, everybody should know, is an early 20th century work. Shakespearean tragedy, early 20th century. Now it should be easy to answer. This is not a difficult question. Shakespeare Restored is 18th century. Isn't it? Shakespeare Restored is 18th century. Then Shakespeare, His Mind and Art, because it is Victorian. Then Shakespearean tragedy, because that is early 20th century. So D, A, E, it must be this option. Did you understand? Shakespeare Restored, 18th century book. Then Shakespeare, His Mind and Art, Victorian. Then Shakespearean tragedy, early 20th century. And then Wheel of Fire. And then after that, Shakespeare's Imagery by Caroline Spurgeon. Did you understand, everybody? Got it right? Did you get it right? Now, next question to you. Which novel poem opens thus? Do you know which of these is a novel poem? Of writing many books, there is no end. And I, who have written much in prose and verse, for others' uses, will write now for mine, will write my story for my better self. Which is this novel poem? Is it Hugh Selwyn Mobley by Ezra Pound? Is it The Ring and the Book? Is it Aurora Leigh? Is it Epipsychidion? This is also not a difficult question. They only want you to know a little bit about these books, then you will be able to answer. If you know a little bit about these books, then you will be able to answer. Hugh Selwyn Mobley is about a poet. Hugh Selwyn Mobley is about a poet. It is possible that he wrote it. The Ring and the Book is not about, what do these lines mean? These lines mean that somebody is writing his or her own story. Certainly Ring and the Book is wrong. Ring and the Book is not about it. Ring and the Book is a murder story. Did you understand? Then third is Aurora Leigh. Aurora Leigh is a poet protagonist. Aurora Leigh is a poet protagonist. Aurora Leigh could be writing about herself. And Aurora Leigh is a novel poem. Epipsychidion is about the poet. It is Shelley's book about himself, but it is definitely Aurora Leigh. If you have general knowledge, slightly you know something about Aurora Leigh, then you will be able to answer this question. Which novel poem opens thus? Of writing many books, there is no end. I have written many books. I am a writer. That is the meaning. And I, who have written much in prose and verse, for other users will write now for mine. Definitely this is not Ezra Pound style. Ezra Pound doesn't write like this. Hugh Selwyn Mobley is by Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound definitely will not write like this. This is Elizabeth Barrett Browning's Aurora Leigh. Did you understand? In NET, SET, SLET, etc., they will always ask questions like this, where you have to answer with your common sense and general knowledge. It is not a question that you answer by reading Aurora Leigh. If you know something about Aurora Leigh, if you have general knowledge about Aurora Leigh, you will be able to answer this. That kind of question this is. Are you able to understand? So this is not a difficult question. Of writing many books there is no end, and I who have written much in prose and verse for others' uses, I have written many books for other people. I will now write for mine, will write my story for my better self. Okay? Match these books with the authors. The Art of Literary Research, An Introduction to Research in Literary History, Aims and Methods of Literary Scholarship, How to Write a Thesis. In such questions, if you know one or two, you should be able to answer. If you know only one or two, you will be able to answer. The Art of Literary Research is famously by Richard D. Altick. And How to Write a Thesis is definitely by Umberto Eco. So this is the answer. The Art of Literary Research. This is a very basic book in literary research. You know, in research in English, this is a basic book. So today itself, before your exam, please study all these books. Okay, these titles of all these books. The Art of Literary Research by Richard D. Altick. An Introduction to Research in Literary History by Chauncey Saunders. Aims and Methods of Literary Scholarship by James Thorpe. Will you remember, guys? These are very important books for literary research. Sailing to Australia in the early years of the 19th century, Edmund Talbot keeps a journal to amuse his godfather back in England. Which of the following books has this central character? Sailing to Australia in the early years of the 19th century. The novel is set in the 19th century early years. Edmund Talbot is the central character. Is it Erewhon? Who is the central character in Erewhon? Who wrote Erewhon? Erewhon is by Samuel Butler. Erewhon is a very famous book. You should know. The protagonist is discovering an island, a fictional island, I think, a fictional country. That is the story of Erewhon. Isn't it? And Erewhon is a novel that shows the development of science during that time. Erewhon famously has a book of machines. Higgs, Higgs, Higgs is the protagonist. Erewhon is an utopian novel where Higgs, Higgs, is discovering a fictional country, and it is not Edmund Talbot. So Edmund Talbot is in which book? It is in Rites of Passage. It is the Booker Prize winning novel by William Golding. Rites of Passage is the Booker Prize winning novel by William Golding. It is the first novel of William Golding's apocalyptic trilogy. What is the name of that trilogy? Sea Trilogy. Sea Trilogy. So this is the answer. Kidnapped, the protagonist is David Balfour. Illyvacker is not about Edmund Talbot writing a journal or anything. Illyvacker is by Peter Carey. So remember, Rites of Passage by William Golding is about Edmund Talbot. He is sailing to Australia in the early years of the 19th century. He is keeping a journal. Remember William Golding's Sea Trilogy, it is part of. Rites of Passage is part of William Golding's Sea Trilogy. It is a post-apocalyptic trilogy by William Golding. Rites of Passage. Which are the three novels of Sea Trilogy, Bolo? They have already asked such questions in SET and NET. Which are the three? To the Ends of the Earth trilogy. That is the other name for it. Sea Trilogy or To the Ends of the Earth trilogy. The three novels are Rites of Passage, Close Quarters, and The Fire Down Below. Okay? It is William Golding's to the Ends of the Earth trilogy by William Golding. Will you remember, everybody? See, trilogy or To the Ends of the Earth trilogy. It has 3 novels: Rites of Passage, Close Quarters and Fire Down Below. They have already asked this in NET exam, I think. Rites of Passage, Close Quarters and Fire Down Below. Will you remember, everyone? Erewhon, protagonist is Higgs. Kidnapped, protagonist is David Balfour. Alright. Then, Theophilus Misimangu is an important character in... He is the friend of one of the protagonists. Theophilus Misimangu is the important character in which novel, bolo? Theophilus Misimangu is the friend of Stephen Kumalo in Cry the Beloved Country. 1948 novel by Alan Paton, South African novelist. South African novelist Alan Paton wrote Cry the Beloved Country. Theophilus Misimangu is the friend of Stephen Kumalo. Both Misimangu and Stephen Kumalo are going to Johannesburg. Stephen Kumalo is getting a letter from Misimangu. And Misimangu's sister is also a character. They are going to search for Stephen Kumalo's son, Absalom, in Johannesburg. Did you understand? Absalom gets arrested then because he killed Arthur Jarvis. Are you getting me, guys? Stephen Kumalo is the friend of Theophilus Misimangu, and Stephen Kumalo and Theophilus Misimangu are going to search for Kumalo's son, Absalom. Absalom gets arrested because he killed Arthur Jarvis. This novel is prescribed for PGTRB also. Very important novel of post-colonialism. Cry the Beloved Country. Alan Paton. 1948, it was published before Things Fall Apart. Eliot's concept of impersonality. Now, this is a question that you can get in any exam. In every single exam, Eliot and impersonality can be asked. Eliot's concept of impersonality has often been compared to the figure of the chameleon poet. Who among the following is associated with the idea of chameleon poet? What do you mean by chameleon poet? A poet who has the capacity to change. Eliot's concept of impersonality is compared to the figure of the chameleon poet. Chameleon poet means a poet who has the capacity to change. Who is associated with the concept of chameleon poet, bolo? Who is associated with the concept of chameleon poet? Anybody? It is John Keats. John Keats talked about negative capability, egotistical sublime, and chameleon poet. 3 concepts now you know. Negative capability, egotistical sublime, and chameleon poet. 3 concepts you should remember. Will you remember, guys? Eliot's concept of impersonality also talks about a poet who should change his personality. He should not put his personality into his poetry. So, chameleon poet is associated with Keats and it is related to T.S. Eliot's impersonality. Will you remember? Which of these books involved the study of the American poet Ivor Winters? This looks like a difficult question, but it is an easy question. I will tell you why. Bolo, which of these books involved the study of the American poet Ivor Winters? Listen, everybody, I want to tell you something. Many students think Kalyani ma'am's questions are difficult, I am scared, I can't answer them. You are wrong. When I give you questions, I am only trying to help you to understand that general knowledge with which you can answer any difficult question. I am trying to give you basic general knowledge thinking. It is very, very important to guess correctly with your general knowledge. This question, for example, is not an in-depth question. It is not an in-depth question. It is only a question that you can answer if you look up the cover page of these books. It is The New Criticism by John Crowe Ransom. The New Criticism by John Crowe Ransom is a study of I.A. Richards, T.S. Eliot, Ivor Winters and F.R. Lewis. New Criticism by John Crowe Ransom. On the cover page of the book itself, these names are there. You don't have to know very deeply everything. You know, literature is not about knowing deeply. In GATE also, they will ask you this question because they want you to wonder. When you read about new criticism, they want you to look up in the internet. They want you to wonder. They want you to look up the cover page. At least that kind of general knowledge you should have. That is why they ask. Not because you should all be reading this book in detail. That is not the reason. I hope you understand. It is John Crowe Ransom's New Criticism. For all the important books, you should do extra reading. You should do just Google search. You should look up the cover page. People with passion for studying will do such things. Did you understand? So don't think every single question is difficult. It is not so. So when in my lectures, in my sessions in YouTube, I am not giving you information as such. I am giving you thinking style. How to think and understand. How to understand literature. How to think in the exam hall. That is what I am teaching you. Don't get pressurized. Did you understand? I am teaching you strategies. Many of you don't understand. You say, don't teach all this, give us strategies. That is what I am giving. Only this strategy will help you. So, which of these books involved a study of American poet Ivor Winters? It is John Crowe Ransom's New Criticism. John Crowe Ransom's New Criticism is about 4 writers. He studies there. First I.A. Richards, then T.S. Eliot, then Ivor Winters, then F.R. Lewis. Okay? Now, which of the following is not a poem by Derek Walcott? Are my KEA Karnataka assistant professor students here? Derek Walcott, very famous writer. They will definitely ask about Derek Walcott. Which of these is not a poem by Derek Walcott, Bolo? Is it Star Apple Kingdom? You laughed and laughed and laughed. Mass Man, Love After Love. You should know, please pay attention everyone. You should know, You Laughed and Laughed and Laughed is by Gabriel O'Kara. It is a very famous poem by Gabriel O'Kara. You Laughed and Laughed and Laughed is prescribed in many universities. That you should know. The Star Apple Kingdom, Mass Man, Love After Love. These are by Derek Walcott. Okay? Even if you don't know these poems, okay, but you should know. You Laughed and Laughed and Laughed is by Gabriel O'Kara. Gabriel O'Kara wrote many poems like this. Piano Drums. You Laughed and Laughed and Laughed. Then he wrote a novel, The Voice. He wrote a novel, The Voice. Okay? Will you remember? Derek Walcott, very important. Adam's Song, A Far Cry from Africa. Derek Walcott wrote Adam's Song, A Far Cry from Africa. The Sea is History. Ruins of a Great House. The Star Apple Kingdom. Mass Man, Love After Love. Alright? These are major poems by Derek Walcott. I have already discussed negative capability several times. You don't know? Once upon a time. Yes, Niladri. Negative capability is the negative capacity of a writer not to put his personality into the poem. A writer should not put his personality into the poem. A writer should not put his ideas into the poem. A writer should have the negative capacity to be in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts without an irritable reaching after fact and reason. The writer should have the negative capacity to be in uncertainties. The writer is in uncertainty himself. He doesn't know what to write. He is in mystery. He is in doubt. He is not in an irritable manner going after fact and reason. That is the meaning of negative capability. Will you remember? Okay. Then, all year the flax dam festered in the heart of the townland. Green and heavy-headed flax had rotted there. He is talking about a water body. He is talking about a place of water. It is like a pond where flax is rotting. There is so much smell. It is sweltering in the punishing sun. Very dark picture. These are the opening lines of a famous poem. By which poet? All year the flax dam festered means rotting. It is a picture of rotting. In that water body where flax is rotting, there frog spawn is there. In that dirty water, frogs have put their eggs. And a child is looking at the frog spawn. Now tell me which poem it is. Very, 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 very famous poem. Which poem it is? It is Seamus Heaney's Death of a Naturalist. Death of a Naturalist. Remember, Seamus Heaney has written Midterm Break, Death of a Naturalist, and he has also written many bog poems. Seamus Heaney has written many bog poems. What are his bog poems? Bogland, Bog Queen, Tolland Man, then Punishment, Tolland Man, Punishment, Bogland, Bog Queen. Other poems by Seamus Heaney are Death of a Naturalist, Digging, then Midterm Break. I am just revising everything with you so that before the exam, you should read all these authors, their important works, will you? Please remember to study all these things, okay? Alright, Seamus Heaney's Death of a Naturalist. Are my Karnataka students here? They will get this question in their exam, okay? The word Google was initially a noun, but now it is used as a verb. This is an example of dash. The word Google was initially a noun, but now it is used as a verb. This is an example of compounding, borrowing, conversion, back formation. Bolo? Is it compounding, borrowing, conversion, back formation? No, Geojoy. Back formation means from the word editor, you make edit. From the word editor, you make edit. That is back formation. Did you understand? Back formation is from the word editor, you make edit. Conversion means noun becomes verb. Noun becomes verb. That is conversion. Or verb becomes noun. Did you understand, everyone? Then, next question. Conversion I'll mark. A collection of critical essays called Doing Things with Text, published in 1989, was written by Bolo. Who wrote Doing things with text. Doing things with text. Who's the author of Doing Things with Text? It is, tell me. No, it is a new word, Geojoy. It is M.H. Abrams, correct. Doing Things with Text was written by M.H. Abrams. What was the name of the anthology? The name of the 3 anthologies brought out by Amy Lovell with her own preface from 1915 to 17. Amy Lovell brought out 3 anthologies of Imagism from 1915 to 17. From 1915 to 17, Amy Lovell brought out 3 anthologies of Imagism. And she wrote a famous preface to it. What is the name of the anthology? Is it Des Imagistes? Some Imagist Poets? Imagism or Imagist Poetry? It is Some Imagist Poets. Some Imagist Poets. Okay. Which of the following is not a feature of euphuism? Which of the following is not a feature of euphuism? Syntactical balance and antithesis, patterns of alliteration and assonance, rhetorical questions and verse paragraphs, then verse paragraphs, rhetorical questions, verse paragraphs, syntactical balance and antithesis, patterns of alliteration and assonance, rhetorical questions, verse paragraphs. Which of these is not a feature of euphuism? Bolo? It is verse paragraphs. You know why? Of course, because euphuism is prose. Verse paragraph nahi hoga usme. Euphuism is prose. There won't be verse paragraphs. There can't be because euphuism is prose. Verse paragraphs are in blank verse poems. Verse paragraphs are found in blank verse poems. Will you remember, everybody? They are found in blank verse poems. Then, which of the following did Alan Tate mean by tension in poetry? Which of the following did Alan Tate mean by tension in poetry? What did Alan Tate mean by tension? Bolo? The merging of the rational and the irrational. Let me explain tension first. Alan Tate said that best poetry will have tension. Tension has extension and intention. Listen, everybody, extension and intention. Extension is literal meaning. Intention is metaphorical meaning. Which of the following did Alan Tate mean by extension or literal meaning and intention or metaphorical meaning? Is it merging of the rational and the irrational? Conflict of center and margin? Incorporation of abstract and concrete? Conflict of meaning and meaninglessness? It is incorporation of the abstract and concrete. Incorporation of abstract and concrete. Did you understand, right, guys? Got it, everybody? Extension means literal meaning. Intention means metaphorical meaning. And this relates to the abstract and the concrete coming together in poetry. This question will be asked in PGTRB also. Extension and intention, very important. Tension, very important concept by Alan Tate, new critic. Okay? PGTRB students, are you there? Pay attention to this, okay? Now, which of the following, sorry guys. Now you can read. Which of the following is the correct chronological arrangement of these theoretical texts? Dekho, course in general linguistics, structuralist poetics, structure, sign and play in the discourse of human sciences, simulacra and simulation. Can you guess, everyone? Course in general linguistics, Saussure. है ना? Course in general linguistics is Ferdinand de Saussure. Then structuralist poetics is Jonathan Culler. Structure, sign and play is Derrida. Jonathan Culler came after Derrida. Jonathan Culler came after Derrida. Remember that. Simulation and simulacrum is Baudrillard and he is postmodern. He came very late. Baudrillard should be definitely last. Baudrillard should be last. Saussure should be first. This must be 1. Saussure must be 1. Derrida must be 2. Culler must be 3. And simulation and simulacra must be 4. Did you understand? So it must be 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 3, 2, 4. This is the answer. Got it, everybody? It is not a difficult question either. My son is fine with God's grace. So, first course in general linguistics, then structure, sign and play, then structuralist poetics, then simulacra and simulation. Simulacra and simulation, that is right. Gulf War did not exist, said Baudrillard. Baudrillard said Gulf War did not exist. Which of the following is associated with Henry James? Omniscient third person narrator, intrusive narrator, limited point of view, implied reader. Which of these is associated with Henry James? Guys, please understand that I am always asking questions about very major authors whom you should know. I am trying to give you some general knowledge process of thinking, how to think using general knowledge. What is required is not real knowledge. What is required is first and foremost general knowledge and common sense in the exam. Then you will be able to understand. Listen to me, everybody. Henry James is associated with limited point of view. And he associated with that, he talked about center of consciousness. Character as center of consciousness. Will you remember? Henry James talked about the protagonist or narrator as center of consciousness. He is associated with limited point of view. That is related to modernism. Omniscient third person narrator, not at all related to modernism. Intrusive narrator can be related, but it is Tom Jones. Implied reader, that is in reader response criticism. Limited point of view is associated with Henry James. Will you remember, everybody? Henry James. Omniscient third person narrator is in realism, guys. But Henry James also was a realist, but he was more like a modernist. This is traditional realism. In Henry James, even though he is a realist, he is more like a modernist realist. So, center of consciousness and limited point of view. Okay? Implied author is Wayne C. Booth. Implied reader is Wolfgang Iser. Implied reader is Wolfgang Iser. Implied author is Wayne C. Booth. Don't be confused, okay? Be clear in your ideas. Wayne C. Booth talked about implied author. Implied reader is Wolfgang Iser. Henry James is limited point of view. Everybody clear? Is it clear? Yes. Which of the following is not a short story by Ernest Hemingway? Which of the following is not a short story by Ernest Hemingway? I got all these titles I got from M.H. Abrams. M.H. Abrams has talked about all this. So it is possible they will ask. It is bliss. Looks like a difficult question, but it is from M.H. Abrams. I took these titles from M.H. Abrams. Ernest Hemingway has written The Killers, A Clean, Well-Lighted Place, The Short, Happy Life of Francis Macomber. I have left Unacademy Daffodils. I'm not there in Unacademy live now, but if you join Unacademy, you can still get my recorded videos and PDF. If you want live classes, you can join our tests. Okay, Bliss is by Catherine Mansfield, it seems. Three short stories, Killers, Clean, Well-Lighted Place is prescribed in universities. This is a prescribed story. The Short, Happy Life of Francis Macomber. Which of the following is a collection of short stories by Anita Desai? Bolo, which of the following is a collection of short stories by Anita Desai? Bolo. Games at Twilight, Fasting, Feasting, The Zigzag Way, Journey to Ithaca. Anybody who wants to know about our course, please WhatsApp me and you will get a Telegram link. You join that Telegram group and tomorrow I will announce test course ka details. Okay, tomorrow I will announce test course ka details. In M.H. Abrams, I found clean, well-lit place, Geojoy. I also thought it is clear, well-lighted place. But in M.H. Abrams, it was given clean. I don't know if M.H. Abrams is wrong or I am wrong. Okay. Which of the following is a collection of short stories? It is Games at Twilight. Games at Twilight. Fasting, Feasting is about Uma and Arun. It is a novel. It is Games at Twilight. I know, I also think it is clear. But in M.H. Abrams, it is given clean. Did you understand? That is why I put clean. Because I thought I could be wrong. In which of the following novels by Salman Rushdie is a tightrope walker? Tightrope, somebody walking on tightrope. An important character. A tightrope walker. It is Shalimar the clown. There, Shalimar is a tightrope walker. The protagonist, one of the main characters, Shalimar, is a tightrope walker. Did you understand? Remember that. Salman Rushdie, very, very important. In Keki and Daruwala's Sahitya Academy award-winning poetry collection, The Keeper of the Dead, dash is a central symbol. Dash is a central symbol. In Keki and Daruwala's Keeper of the Dead, is it jaguar, vulture, tiger, hawk? Jaguar, vulture, tiger, hawk. It is a hawk, I found. I found it in one book. Hawk. Read extra, okay? Hawk, it seems. Then, which of the following is not a closet drama? Which of the following is not a closet drama? Bolo, let me make some space here at the end. Which of the following is not a closet drama? This is one of my trick questions. All are closet dramas. Samson Agonistes, Manfred, Prometheus Unbound, The Dinas, Atlanta in Calydon. Samson Agonistes by Milton. Manfred by Byron. Prometheus Unbound by Shelley. The Dinas by Hardy. Atlanta in Calydon by A.C. Swinburne. All are closet dramas. All are closet dramas. Will you remember, guys? Trick question mine. Which of the following utopian novels is wrongly matched with its author? These are all utopian novels. Which of these is wrongly matched with its author? Is it Samuel Butler, News from Nowhere? Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Her Land. James Hilton, Lost Horizon. Love Among the Ruins by Evelyn Waugh. Which of these is wrongly matched? Bolo? Shall I tell you the answer? It is all are correct. All are correct. Samuel Butler, News from Nowhere. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Her Land. James Hilton, Lost Horizon. Evelyn Waugh, Love Among the Ruins. All are correct. Okay? They are all utopian novels. I found them in M.H. Abrams again. Which of these comic characters famously says expressions like, he is the very pineapple of politeness? He is the very pineapple of politeness. Which character says this? Do you know? It is. What is the meaning of pineapple of politeness? It is a mistake. The character means you are the very pinnacle of politeness. Instead of pinnacle, somebody is saying pineapple. So who is it? Tell me. Who is it? It is Mrs. Malaprop. Mrs. Malaprop. This is malapropism. Correct. Malapropism. Instead of pinnacle, she is saying pineapple. Did you understand? It is malaprop. Which of the following is not a feature of the literary movement called decadence? It derived the ideas of high refinement and subtle beauty from Hellenistic Greece. It derived the ideas of high refinement and subtle beauty from Hellenistic Greece. It originated in France at the end of the 19th century. It preferred the natural in human experience over the deviant and artificial. It opposed the standard norms of morality and art. All of these are features. Which of these? Tell me. Decadence. It derived the ideas of high refinement and subtle beauty. Is it correct? Is it correct? originated in France. Is it correct? ध्यान से पढ़ो. Preferred the natural in human experience over the deviant and the artificial. Is it correct? Arey, this is wrong. The decadent people, decadents, preferred artificial over natural. This is wrong. The people of the decadence preferred artificial over the natural. Did you understand? This is absolutely wrong. They rejected the natural. Did you understand? In which year did the UGC introduce the academic performance indicators in measuring the growth of a teacher, student, or institution? In which year did the UGC introduce the academic performance indicators? Do you know? API. Academic performance indicators means API. It is 2010. 2010. Will you remember, guys? 2010. API was introduced. Which of the following is not a list of words introduced by Shakespeare into English language? Agile, accommodation, antipathy, catastrophe. Demonstrate, emulate, emphasis, extract. Hereditary, horrid, meditate, modest. Dislocate, frugal, misanthrope. I got it from A.C. Baugh. A.C. Baugh has given a list of words. Answer is all of these were introduced by Shakespeare. At least these you should study, okay? All of these were introduced by Shakespeare. Will you remember, everyone? Just read again and again, then you will remember. Agile, accommodation, antipathy, catastrophe. Demonstrate, emulate, emphasis, extract. Hereditary, horrid, meditate, modest. Dislocate, frugal, misanthrope. These are all words introduced by Shakespeare. Google se nahi liya maine. I took it from A.C. Baugh. They will make questions from standard books like A.C. Baugh. Or, you know the David Daitches I follow, A.K. Mehrotra I follow. Then I have made questions from Paul Poplowski. I make questions from J.A. Cudden. Then I make questions from Fowler, Peter Childs and Fowler. I make questions from J.A. Cudden. Like this, books we should follow, because that is how questions are made in net. Random questions made from internet, random questions made from Google and all are not useful. We have to study all these major texts, as much as possible in detail. Then we will get same kind of questions in exam. Did you understand? In GATE, they expect you to read literary terms books, M.H. Abrams and such books you should know. So they will ask questions from there. Did you understand? M.H. Abrams is expected, every BA student is expected to study M.H. Abrams and literary terms books. So that is very, very important. Got it? Now, who of the following in the 18th century, wrote the famous letters to his son? Who wrote letters to his son? Is it Lord Chesterfield, Earl of Rochester? What did I say? Did I say something wrong? Wait. Where is that question? Where is the question? News from nowhere. Where was the question? News from nowhere tha question. Somebody is saying I made a mistake. So I am checking. Oh, yes, Samuel Butler is wrong. I'm so sorry, guys. This is, of course, William Morris. Sorry. All our correct is wrong. I was doing it without thinking. Thank you so much for pointing it out. Thank you, Anjali Valsla. I'm so sorry, but Samuel Butler is wrong. It is William Morris. I was being careless. Sure, that is wrong. It is William Morris. News from nowhere. So I was like illustrating, don't write like this carelessly, okay? Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Anjali, for pointing it out. Thank you. Kalyani, you are so careless. Then, Lord Chesterfield wrote letters to his son. Who of the following in the 18th century wrote letters to his son? It is Lord Chesterfield. I didn't pay attention. I'm so sorry. Then, which of the following is true about Chimamanda Adichie's Half of a Yellow Sun? It is a story of two sisters in pre- and post-war Nigeria. It is the story of a husband and wife who emigrated from Nigeria to London. It is the story of mother and daughter who fought in the Biafran War. It is the story of two female slaves who struggled to get education. Dr. Johnson also wrote to Chesterfield. Chesterfield was very famous. Yeah. It is the story of two sisters, okay? Half of a Yellow Sun is the story of two sisters in pre- and post-war Nigeria. Two sisters in pre- and post-war Nigeria. Which of the following works is divided into parts called morning, noon, and night? Morning, noon, and night. Is it? It is. It is. Tell me, guys. Morning, noon, and night is Lion and the Jewel. Sidi is a beautiful girl. It is Lion and the Jewel, correct. The Lion and the Jewel prescribed for PGTRB. It is Lion and the Jewel. Now, by Wole Soyinka. Which of the following is a memoir by a lost generation writer? Ways of Escape, Palimpsest, A Movable Feast, The Invention of Solitude. Lost generation means it is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway. Lost generation means Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, then E. Cummings. Lost generation means writers of America who came into prominence between the two world wars. A Movable Feast by Hemingway is Lost Generation writer's memoir. Ways of Escape is by Graham Greene. Ways of Escape is by Graham Greene. Palimpsest and Invention of Solitude are not important. It's okay. Which of the following is Dr. Johnson an exponent of? PGTRB people, this question will come from your module 8. Dr. Johnson is an exponent of, it is judicial criticism. Don't write classical criticism. Dr. Johnson is not classical. Even if you want to say it is neoclassical. Dr. Johnson is neoclassical and judicial criticism. Okay? Don't galti say by mistake, don't write classical criticism. Okay? Getting me, everyone? Now, that is the last question we have for today. Did you like the quiz? Did you like the questions, guys? I have made questions from all aspects. Will you please like the video, everybody? I hope you liked this quiz. So it is 1 hour. I will come back with more videos and things tomorrow, but next live will be on Monday. Okay, next live will be on Monday, but I will make videos tomorrow. Judicial criticism is criticism that passes judgment, that analyzes whether it is right or wrong, good or not. That is judicial criticism. Okay? Passing judgment, judging whether it's good or wrong, good or bad. Okay, guys? All right. Bye then. See you tomorrow in videos. But next live will be on Monday. I will announce in a video about our test course. If you want to know more about it or join, etc., just WhatsApp me and join our net course ka telegram group. Okay? You can WhatsApp me and join our net course wala telegram group. I will give you all the details there. All right, guys. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow and on Monday on live.